guys, so today I will be reviewing the film Tusk. It's a 2014 horror comedy directed by Kevin Smith. The film follows Wallace and Teddy, who run a podcast called the Notsee Party, Notsee, but of course it's kind of a play on words there, where they kind of seek out funny and sometimes humiliating viral videos, YouTube videos, things like that. Wallace flies to Canada to find one of the kids in their latest viral video that they're discussing, and that ends up not panning out. Disappointed, Wallace decides to stay in Manitoba for another day to try to find a different story to talk about for the show. And he, in the men's bathroom, he sees a kind of hidden flyer note type thing from a man who has basically talking about how he's lived this really exciting, adventurous life, mostly having to do with being a seaman and traveling around the world, being a sailor on a ship, things like that, and has a number. So Wallace, of course, is curious and he's looking for a story, so he calls the man. The man gives Wallace directions, and Wallace then rents a car, uses the GPS, and goes to this really out-of-the-way mansion. And this is where the man named Howard lives. And he's wheelchair bound. And him and Wallace proceed to sit down, and he tells him about his adventures, and in particular there's a certain story that sticks out about a walrus that saved his life when his ship sank one day. And during this conversation, Wallace has been drinking a cup of tea he gave him, and little does Wallace know that the old man drugged his tea, and he then passes out. When he awakens, the old man tells him this ridiculous story of why he passed out and why he's now strapped to a wheelchair and why there's no phone in his house. And then from then on, it gets crazier and crazier, and Wallace has to endure a lot of physical and psychological torture having to do with the old man's obsession with a walrus. I will readily admit I'm not a Kevin Smith fan per se. I do enjoy a few of his films like Clerks and Mallrats and kind of Clerks too, but that's about it. And I really did not like Red State that he did a few years back. But I do give him props for even doing this film, because I guess he kind of came up with the story on a whim making a podcast, and he let his fans decide whether or not to make this film, and most of the fans wanted it, and so he made this film for an extremely low budget, like around $3 million. So you can tell a lot of the bigger named actors in this film probably did it for free, but that itself is just really interesting, and not many directors would do that, or even anybody would just do that, just do something for their fans like that, and I think that's really cool. And one of the things I really have to hand to Kevin Smith, and I kind of compare this with Quentin Tarantino, is they both are really good at creating and writing interesting dialogue. There can be nothing going on in the scene for an extremely long period of time, but they both are really good at creating that just these conversations that pull you in and that are just so intriguing that you don't need anything else going on. And he is really good at writing dialogue. So this film, again, it's I don't want to say too much about it, because of course if you've seen the trailers you kind of know what direction this is going to go in ultimately. But it was just such kind of a weird and random plot. But of course if you think about it, most horror movies kind of have those kind of plots. They're not normal things like killers that, or the antagonist is usually a killer that can't be killed, or all this weird stuff. Most horror movies don't have, normal plots anyway, so It just had a really interesting plot, and that's why I wanted to watch it. Even if, you know, like I said before, I'm not a big Kevin Smith fan. I am a Justin Long fan, and Justin Long stars as Wallace, the main character, so I did check it out for that reason. Also an interesting thing, nothing to do with anything else, but Harley played a border agent in this film, and he's from the YouTube channel Epic Mealtime, and I thought that was kind of cool. I do like part of this movie. The first, I would say, half of the film is interesting because it's kind of, especially if you don't know a lot about it, you don't really know what's going on. This crazy guy it's kind of scary actually, this crazy old man in the middle of nowhere in a different country, and you're like, you're drugged and you can feel you're drugged and you can't really do anything, and you're strapped to this chair, and that's scary. And the stuff that he says, and the more and more he talks, you slowly can feel you can just tell this guy is crazy. The more stuff he says, and after Wallace, you know, takes a second to realize everything's not matching up, that's scary. That really is scary. And I just thought the pacing of that was really good, like the atmosphere they built up. This could have been, like I said, it's a weird concept, but this could have been a good movie. And it just, a very unique movie as well. Like, I was really into it, but for some odd reason, I want to say over halfway, Kevin Smith decides to take this horror film, which I thought was doing a good job as a horror film, and turn it into a screwball comedy. I don't know why he did this, and really, it ruined the entire film. This film might have even been like a 6 or a 7, but it's just, the comedy just ruins it so much. Johnny Depp comes in as a ex-policeman, ex-detective who's French, so he does this weird French accent that he keeps dropping and bringing back throughout his screen time. And it's just, and especially there's like this, Johnny Depp's character and Mr. Howard, the old crazy man, had met before, and they have this really weird conversation and interaction, and it was just so screwball, but so weird and out of place, and I didn't think it was funny. All the parts after that were supposed to be funny just felt really forced, and kind of just made the film, which had good pacing, suddenly just stop. It felt like the film slammed to a halt, and then we had this really weird, awkward comedy for the rest of the time, and it ruined it. It really did. Because like I said, this just could have been so much better, and I hate movies like that, where it has the potential to be awesome. It has the potential to be a good film, and it does something stupid, and it ruins it. And this is what it did, because this could have been a good movie. I enjoyed it up until Johnny Depp's character appeared. So, I wanted to rate it even lower than I did, because like I said, it just annoyed me for most of the latter half of the film. But I will give it a 5 out of 10. I did enjoy part of the film, but the rest of it just lost me, and I think really messed up the pacing and the story and the atmosphere of the entire thing. But, of course, if you're a Kevin Smith fan, you'll want to watch this. And also if you're a horror fan, because I do think the part that wasn't comedy was successful and was worth watching. The acting was good, I think, all around, except for, like I said, when they tried to insert the comedy. Johnny Depp, like I said, his accent kept dropping, and I just wasn't a fan of him in the film at all. But every other character I thought was, you know, pretty decent in it, especially Justin Long, of course, because of the kind of performance he has to give for what he's going through. I thought he did a good job. But yeah, that was my review for Tusk. Definitely kind of a non-cohesive film, but I did enjoy parts of it. And as always, thank you so much for watching.